Welcome to the Football Show on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm here with Alan Ruff. Delighted that you could join us not only on our YouTube channel but on the podcast as well. So many of you downloading that too, and we appreciate your support. Don't forget, if you hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel, you can come and join the football family. And over and above that, if you hit the premium, you get a chance to be entered into the draw. You and your partner could be on your way to the Champions League final in Budapest in May. It's going to be absolutely fantastic at the Puskás Arena. You'll get flights, accommodation and 2 tickets to the final. All you have to do is go to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button on premium, and you'll be in the draw. And you'll also get, of course, competitions, giveaways and lots of additional material too to look forward to. Great that the PLZ Soccer channel on our YouTube, we've teamed up with Maggie's Cancer Care, and it's a great charity. It's our official charity partner, and if you go to www.maggies.org, you can find out about all the great work they do and the support they give to families who are affected by someone with cancer. So that's something you can get involved in. As ever, with Ruffy by my side, so unusual to be in your company when you're not having a starter, a main course, and of course a suite as well. You were all over it. Everybody was filming you. One of the legends at that game, Partick Thistle Celtic.
Yeah, it was really good. You know what like it is when you go back to a club you've been at for a long, long time. You see a lot of old faces. I was really pleased about it. I mean, I know there was a lot of stuff going on in the Celtic end, you know, the protests and that, but the Partick Thistle, sort of a mainstay, the support had a wonderful banner. It said something like, we'll never forget our history and blah, 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 things like that. It was really, really, and you know how we always say, how do they get these banners in? How do they get them?
Yeah.
They came in 10 minutes, I watched them, it was like 100 foot. And they just all walked in one by one through the thing. It was absolutely amazing to see how they did it.
They put a bit of thought into it, and they also put a bit of money into it too.
Yeah, they certainly did. You know, that they really bought into it. And it's, as Alec Ray was saying the other day there, it's great to see the stadium full. You know, it's just something, you know, the players respond to, and it's something they'll never, I suppose most of them have never played in front of a full capacity.
Who do you think the best, since your time, who do you think the best 5 players that have ever played for Partick Thistle? That's just come into my head there, Ruffy, and it's a tough one. I mean, obviously you're going to be in there yourself because you're going to be humble about it, But
even before me, you know, the supporters before me remember the Jackie Husbands, you know, and players like that, you know, McKenna, you know, who are very well thought of. Dave McParland, obviously, was a big player, but that was a team I used to see when I was about 10 or 11 or something like that. I used to go and watch them. But after that, you've got characters like Chick. You know, Chick's well thought of there.
Yeah, would Chick be in the top 5?
Chick, I think in the present day, I mean, you know, the game moves on. And present day, the supporters will remember Chick, most definitely. Obviously, Chris Doolan's with the goals he scored. I would like to think Brian Graham would be up there as well, you know, because obviously he moved to Falkirk under strange circumstances. But, you know, I would think these guys in particular would be very well remembered.
Yeah, it's interesting actually. I never actually thought we should actually dedicate a programme to, you know, the top Thistle players of all time. I mean, some of that 71 side would undoubtedly get into it, yeah?
Most definitely, and I said that at the weekend there, obviously, when I was at the game, you know, I went up and did a wee quick Q&A with the hospitality suite, and a lot of people don't know this, but I mean, that particular League Cup side in 71, of the 11, 6 of us went on to play for Scotland.
Which is incredible, isn't it?
I mean, it is. I mean, we're all quite young at the time, you know.
Can you name the 6?
I can name them off. Obviously, from the back, there was myself, John Hanson, Alec Forsyth, in the middle, Ronnie Glavin, obviously Jimmy Bone, Dennis McQuaid, you know. And in fact, 3 of them went away with a Scotland team to Brazil to play in a not a mini World Cup, but a mini tournament.
Yeah, incredible. And with that in mind, you know, we always like to celebrate players of stature, players that make you want to watch the game. The Ballon d'Or announced the winners, and the winners of the men is Ousmane Dembele. Obviously, Aitana Bonmati won it again for her exploits in the Barcelona. I think she was absolutely delighted because Andres Iniesta presented her with the award, one of her heroes, along with Xavi. The Socrates Award went to the Zana Foundation. The Club of the Year, no surprise, Ruffy, is Paris Saint-Germain. And the Gerd Müller Trophy, which for some people who don't remember or of a certain age, Gerd Müller, prolific goal scorer, unbelievable goals at international level and for Bayern Munich. So Eva Pajor and Victor Gyökeres, who's at Arsenal, won that. The one that should interest you is the Lev Yashin Trophy, which went to Donnarumma.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's moved to Man United. He's one of these goalkeepers that's got elastic arms.
Man City went to.
Man City. He's a wee bit like Craig Gordon. You know, his arms seem to just stretch forever, and he makes these. He's one of these goalkeepers who makes the saves that wins you games. And I've always said that most goalkeepers go into a game can make 3, 4, 5 saves in any particular 90 minutes, but to make this save. To win a game for your team at international level or club level, and he's done it, and that's why he's got it.
Yeah, no surprise the Johan Cruyff Trophy goes to Luis Enrique for what he's achieved at Paris Saint-Germain. The men's Copa Trophy, which is for obviously the young player Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal's one of those players, roughly, that you thought might have been in the running to win it. He came second. Vitinha, who's the Paris Saint-Germain player who's been superb. Mo Salah, Rafinha, Akram Hakimi. Hakimi is unbelievable. He's just got an engine on him. And then it was Kylian Mbappe at 7, Cole Palmer at 8, Donnarumma at 9, and Nuno Mendes. What do you make of that top 10?
Yeah, I would say you can't complain about it. Obviously PSG were the team of the year, you know, even at the World Championships, and you would think that their players would be very dominant in these awards, and it looks as if that is the case.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at Dembele and his medal haul for that season was Champions League winner, League One winner, French Cup winner, UEFA Super Cup winner, Trophée de Champion winner, and Ballon d'Or winner. I mean, that is some haul in 1 year for him.
Well, as you know, I've waited a long time for PSG to come up with the goods.
Is that the 1 year? That was the 1 year you didn't tip
Champions League every year. Of Champions League, I was hanging in there. It was Barcelona, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They won 4-0.
Yeah, and then they come back.
And they get beat, tanked in the replay. But they certainly have. They went for the superstars, didn't they?
Yeah.
The 3 up front.
Neymar,
Messi and
Mbappe.
And now they seem to change it now. They've had a different outlook on what a successful team is, and I think they've got it right now. They've just got really workmanlike team players, you know, who all play for the team and not as individuals.
Well, it's an interesting situation. We could obviously relate it to the domestic situation as well in Scotland. When you're trying to build a side and you're trying to get the right chemistry. I mean, I look at the 2002 Champions League winning side of Real Madrid, and then by the time Beckham came in and they built this whole Galacticos side, Beckham, I think, in his period at Real Madrid only won 1 La Liga. That was it.
Amazing.
When you thought about, and when you think about the team and the players that they had in their side that Beckham was part of, and they didn't get it together, same as Paris Saint-Germain. And sometimes you can flood a team full of individuals that just don't click.
Yeah, you've just highlighted that case. You know, I think the supporters, when Real Madrid were at the high, they were just buying the best player everywhere. Doesn't matter who it was, they just bought him. And as a supporter, you'd be buying into that. You'd be going, great, I'm going to be going to see this guy I've seen live and up front. But obviously, at the end of the day, you do want to win trophies.
Yeah, absolutely. There's only 3 Scots ever been really in the running for the Ballon d'Or. 3 of them have finished in the top 3. One of them won it, one of them finished second, and one of them finished third. So, Ruffy...
I've got to go for Dennis Law.
Right, Dennis Law wins it in 1964.
Did you say Scottish or British?
Scottish.
Scottish.
Yeah, because the last British winner and an Englishman was Michael Owen.
Did George Best get somewhere?
He won it in 68.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Bobby Charlton's won it as well. Mm-hmm. He won it in 66, no surprise.
Harry Kane's not won it, he's English.
No, you're looking for a Scottish players.
What year?
I'm giving you, I'm going to give you 80s and 60s. 2 Scottish players.
In the 60s?
Yeah. He finished He finished third. He finished third. You're a disgrace. You're an absolute disgrace. One of the world's greatest players. At that time, he was one of the top players.
It wasn't Kenny, was it?
No, in 1967.
Oh, the later one.
Kenny was 83.
Did he get anywhere?
Kenny finished runner-up to Michel Platini. Right. So in 1983, when Liverpool, were absolutely dominating in Europe. I mean, I'm gobsmacked that he lost it to Michel Platini. He was absolutely top drawer in that.
The Champions League, weren't they? They were winning that with Liverpool 2 or 3 times, two or three times in a row, or twice in a row.
No, they won. He won it in '78 when he scored against Bruges. Then he won it in '81. Then they won it in '84. So he'd won it 3 times. But
I'm just stalling you.
I know you are. I know you are. I mean, 67. You're a disgrace. And I'm going to ask you the question.
Jim Byster?
No, Jimmy Johnstone.
You dinky.
Right. So he finished third. Now I have to say to you, the guy who won it was from, I think, Ferencváros, which for me begs the question with guys like winning the Ballon d'Or. Jimmy Johnstone was, I mean, head and shoulders in 1967, one of the best players in the world. I'm gobsmacked that he didn't win it. But it brings me to the question, I saw it on social media the other day there, and I wondered about who was the best player between the two of them, Jimmy Johnstone and George Best. It's such a good argument, and I think because people who are of an English persuasion watch George Best play for Manchester United, they think it was George Best. It's a great pub argument, Ruffy, because Jimmy Johnstone, I think, was 22 when he won the European Cup with Celtic. And he was also one of those players who absolutely in the Bernabeu, like George Best, outshone everybody. I mean, George Best, when they beat Real Madrid, I think it was 5-1, and they were absolutely fantastic. Best was outrageous. But he had skills that Jimmy had as well.
Yeah, I think most of the Celtic supporters will remember Jimmy. Jimmy always had a habit of getting by somebody and then want to go back and go by him again.
Yeah, so did Best.
I know. It was an old school sort of stuff, you know. You only see certain clips of you, Jinky, you know, and it's so difficult, you know. His movement, his feet, and the quickness, and that's what sort of defenders didn't like, because he would come up to you so quick, and then he would just go one way or go the other. And I've just got a funny feeling. I think Best was possibly more direct.
Yeah.
You know, that, when I think of George Best, I keep thinking of that one game he scored 6 goals or something like that.
Yes.
And he went by the whole...
He was Northampton.
Yeah, he went by the whole team, you know, forward from that central position. But, I mean, Jinky could win a game single-handedly.
We should get a couple of journos in, a couple of ex-players, and do who's better, Best or Johnson. It's a good one, isn't it?
Doesn't it have?
You'd need to get someone of an older persuasion in there. It'd be you, Hugh McDonald, and a couple others that we could, it's an Archie one, isn't it?
It is.
It really is, isn't it?
It's, but I mean, Best had, even at international level, he's something special, you know, and they love him, you know. But I think Jinky, you know, in the Scottish persuasion, I think a lot of people would go for Jinky. Yeah,
that was an interesting one, Ruffy, because it brings me nicely to the fact that, by the way, the first players to win it was an Englishman. And it was also, I think, the oldest player ever to win it, Stanley Matthews.
Wow.
I mean, that's outrageous. He was still playing professional football at the top flight. I think he would have been with Blackpool. Mm-hmm. But he was still playing professional football at the top flight at 50 with Stoke.
Wow.
50? Yeah, and you can't play tennis because you've got a wee niggle in your knee, which would do my head in. Listen, with that in mind, just on that basis, Jinky was famous for one game. In fact, when Jockstein said to him, look, if you help us to beat Red Star Belgrade, you don't need to fly over there, you know. And, Jock in the end says, listen, you need to come because all the people in Belgrade want to see you. But Jimmy hated flying. And suddenly, you're in a situation where this week, Celtic will come up against Red Star Belgrade. I just wonder if the Celtic fans will look at this and think, is this a chance to have a real go in this tournament? Is that what they should be expecting? I know some people look and say, okay, this is the level for Celtic and Rangers. Mm-hmm. Should anybody have any expectations of Celtic doing anything seriously in this tournament?
I think they would like to get to the latter stages, but I think the unfortunate thing for Celtic is they drop into it for the Champions League, don't they?
Yep.
There'll be bigger teams dropping into the Europa at some stage, and that could be
No, there's no drop in.
not at the beginning.
No, but because of the nature of it now, because of the new setup, it's just a whole raft of teams who all will play various teams in, and there's no dropout this time. So, but you're talking about a secondary issue. It's the second biggest tournament. Celtic fans will feel slightly deflated. I think that will pass once the games kick in. I'm not so sure about whether I have any great expectations of Celtic or Rangers doing anything in this tournament, just because I think Celtic are weakened. I don't think the calibre of player they've bought has excited the manager or indeed the fans. I mean, the only one that they've been raving about is Tenekte. What did you make of him?
I thought he was fantastic. I thought he was electric. Anytime he got the ball, he was prepared to take people on, which is something you don't see very often. Obviously, I think Celtic were starved with Jota, because I think he's a similar kind of player. He excites you, he likes to take people in, and he gets into dangerous positions in the 18-yard box, and if you've got a lot of movement for the midfield or the strikers, then he will assist a lot of goals throughout the season. So yeah, I think he's a massive plus.
Yeah. Do you see them doing anything?
No.
Do you share that view?
I just don't think they're strong enough at the back against the bigger sides. I think obviously Liam scares them. Funny enough, with having seen many Celtic games up front and close, I was looking at Cameron Vickers. He's not the biggest guy in the world.
No.
Cameron Vickers. He's quite a stocky centre-half, but he gets up to such a height, headers and that, he really shines, and he reads the game well. He's very comfortable with the ball at his feet. I just think that when you come against better teams, I think they can expose that Celtic defence.
Well, the matches they've got are Red Star Belgrade, then Braga on the 2nd of October, Sturm Graz, Michelin as well in there, and Feyenoord. To name but a few of the games that they've got coming up, Ruffy, which gives you an indication of the calibre of side at this level. And then from there they've got Roma in December alongside Bologna, and then Utrecht. So
I think the two Italian teams will be the hard ones. I think they'll be the difficult ones to go over, because Celtic have played most of these other teams in other rounds of other competitions, so the rest of them are not really Champions League teams, they're Europa club teams. But if the Celtic can hang on in there and get to January, and surely the board would have learned a lesson if Brendan Rodgers says, look, if we want to go far in this Europa Cup, we need better players, so they'll dig their hands into their pockets and bring better players in.
Yeah, steady, Ruffy, let's not be silly on the programme.
I think they've got to learn their lesson. They can't.
Yeah. Well, I can hear the excuses now saying January's a difficult time. Nobody really signs players in January. Rangers, Genk. If anything, the big win, Ruffy, over Hibs has bought him some time. I think the general feeling is he's still walking a tightrope game by game. Does Genk, put another nail in the coffin, or is that just a case of, well, that's an escape from Europe, they don't have any expectations? They've got Genk, they've got Sturm Graz, they've got Brann, they've got Roma as well, and Braga, and Ferencváros, as well as Ludogorets, and then finish off with a game at the end of January against Porto.
Again, they'll expect to win their home games. They're the ones you've got to win. Obviously they were encouraged by the weekend there. We heard Alec Ray saying the other day, this team aren't a Bruges. So you've got to fancy them at home. You've got to fancy them to win that game. And the more points you put on the board, the more confident you'll get. And you would hope that the sort of the stuff against the board and that would quieten a wee bit and the players could enjoy themselves.
Yeah, but you don't see any. The problem I have with both of them, and I think they're weaker, and I think Rangers, who've been flying the flag for a fair number of years for Scottish football in European competition, I don't see, Ruffy, any evidence of a structure, a pattern of play, a style that suggests that they're going to be able to replicate what previous Rangers sides have done. I don't see that in evidence since the start of the season, do you?
No, I think defensively, I think you even saw it at the weekend against Hibs. They're still vulnerable. They're still vulnerable. The ball over the top, and not defending properly. Corners. Every time a corner or a free kick comes in, you're like, oh, they're going to lose a goal here. So that's something they have to tighten up. And I think midfield, they are getting stronger, but I think the two wide guys need to contribute. I mean, Czerny was a big player in Europe for them last year. He got a few balls into the box, but I can't see them qualifying or anything like that, but I think they'll get a good run.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for both of them. And I think basically whether we see Russell Martin at the end of this campaign in charge is another matter. It's still game by game for me, and it doesn't get any easier. And if we're talking about managers under pressure, just out of curiosity, Celtic Genk.
I think if they got a draw there, they'd be quite happy.
Yeah, and Rangers?
No, I think Rangers should win this one. No, Rangers Genk.
Rangers Genk. Rangers win, and then Celtic Red
draw.
Star.
Yeah, a draw away from home.
Away from home?
Yep.
Yeah. Talking about managers under pressure, I've been looking extensively and reading up on how the Aberdeen press are looking at it with regards to Jimmy Thelin. The record's not great, Ruffy. I mean, since he joined in June 2024, they finished 5th in the table, which, when you consider at one point where they were, I think they were top and clear of Rangers by some distance, and it just all collapsed. They obviously won the Scottish Cup. We're well aware of the fact that it bought them time. But of 32 games played in the year 2025, he's got 11 wins, 15 losses and 6 draws. It's a 45.8 win percentage. Since he arrived, they've won only 5. In fact, they've won only 5 of their 31 Premiership games since November of last year, which is not great. And now, 1 point, no goals from their first 4 league games, out of the Premier Sports Cup, and knocked out of the Europa League into the conference.
Yeah, it's not something that the fans will be thinking was going to happen after winning the Cup. But I don't know about you, but if you even look at the Cup win, they were never in the game. Schmeichel loses one late on and they win in penalties. So you take the cup and you cheer and you go away celebrating. But if you look at the performance that day, it was quite a negative performance. Okay, they set their stall out not to get hammered, but at the end of the day they won it. But that winning a cup like that puts a bit of pressure on you, because the supporters then think, oh, we've won a cup here, we should be challenging, we should be winning games, and that's not happened. And again, we're looking at the owners. We're looking at but not be long before he comes out and says, "Oh, I've got the backing of the owners." That's the way it is. But
he's had that because but they backed him also financially. He signed 13 players in the window there, so they've backed him. Another thing about it, you mentioned the cup win. The cup win is the only game that he's changed from 4-3-2-1. Now, when I watched him when he was on that great run, they had you could see what he was doing. He had 2 holding midfielders, and they would basically come and take it off the back 4 and then build it from there and try and get it out wide. Teams worked him out very, very quickly, and after a while the great run then moved on to the great collapse. And the fans were looking at it and thinking, teams are working you out. When are you going to try and get a win? And they were on a dismal run, and over and above that, I think there was real calls prior to that cup final of whether he was going to get the sack or not, and whether they were going to stick by him. They gave him the vote of confidence, because I spoke to board members prior to the cup final, and they said, no, whether he wins or loses, we're sticking by him.
Well, it's hard to get your head around, because obviously, you want a team to be successful, you want to be winning games, and they had a great start to the season, there's no doubt about that, but I mean, that middle bit where they just fell out was horrendous, and he was very, very lucky that the board and the supporters hang on with him. But I mean, obviously winning the cup gives you a wee bit of time, but so far this season, no goals. It's just, it has to happen sometime, and it might be this week.
Yeah, well, and the other thing you mentioned there, that's the only time where he was forced into a change. I think Nicky Devlin came on and played left back in the cup final, and they changed away from this 4-3-2-1. He's played every game with a 4-3-2-1. So he's a manager who doesn't budge from a system that everybody knows how they're going to play. Surely, if we're critical of the likes of a Brendan Rodgers, a Russell Martin, a Philippe Clement, when you say if plan A isn't working, plan B needs to come into effect. I mean, it's like that great line that we talked about when, I think it was one of the famous managers who was down at Largs, and they were talking to him, and they asked him what his preferred formation was, what is his style, and he says, my style is whatever players I have available to me. He says, if I got a big number 9, then I'm launching it into him. If I've got a number 10 who can take it in, if I've got a number 6 who can take it off the back 4, then I'm a passing player.
Yeah, if you look at the signing, the boy Carlson looks a player. I mean, he looks as if he'll come good, and obviously Armstrong's in there, so he's got 2 players in there who not really the kind of player that he's been playing with. So maybe he is thinking, I have to change it some way, but you need to get somebody to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate here is, is he living on borrowed time as well?
Yeah, I think he is. It's a game to game. Obviously they've got a game tonight. Is it tonight?
Yeah.
United. Yeah, I think Aberdeen fans rely on getting a semi-final in a cup.
Yeah.
That's what they hang on to, and maybe get to a final and obviously win it. But that one's been taken away. There'll be another one coming up. But the league is he can't afford for Aberdeen to be bottom of that league for a long time.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember, Ruffy, but I did say that of all the players, I mean, the one manager who could scupper my tip, but as I was looking at the managers that I thought were more at risk of being bulleted, he was my favourite. Until, of course, Russell Martin has this disastrous start, which has put him right behind the 8 ball as well. But of all the managers, I mean, if Russell Martin can get some kind of momentum, it might prolong. But I think he's got a long way to go with the Rangers fans. But I think the Aberdeen fans, do you remember when they were on that great run? There was flags. You love a flag. There was the flamethrowers.
Yeah, I noticed that at the weekend there was empty seats, and that means the main stand where the supporters go to. Obviously, the Aberdeen supporters are no different from anybody else. They want the team to do well, and I think the added burden for Aberdeen supporters is the travelling.
Yeah.
How much does it cost them going away to away games, and you continue to lay out that kind of money, and your team's not scoring goals and your team's not winning? That's an added pressure on the club.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it might need a change, but Aberdeen fans, and I know we've got more than a few who tap into it and give us their thoughts on it. Why don't you give us your thoughts? Can he survive much longer if they don't come off the bottom of the table? I think at this point they're still not one of my tips. I didn't have them in the top 6 in our tips, Ruffy. I definitely had Celtic, Hearts, Rangers, Hibs, Dundee United in there, and I think I had Motherwell too.
I think I had Aberdeen 6th. I think
I had them 7th or 8th.
I'm impressed with St Mirren, but I think they could be top 6 again.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting times. Give us your thoughts on that. Draw for the semi-finals, Ruffy. Motherwell St Mirren, which is great because it gives either Jens Berthel or Stevie Robinson a chance to make it to the final. And over and above that, Celtic against Rangers, which, probably the Premier Sports are thinking that they're raging that they haven't got them in the final, but it's still a mouth-watering tie.
Certainly is. I hope we don't have that usual outcry of St Mirren, Motherwell. That can't be played at Hampden. It's not going to be full and all that.
Oh no, it will be.
It has to be played there because a lot of these players have never been to Hampden before, and it is the road to Hampden. That's what it used to be called. So yeah, I hope they do stick by that, and even the supporters want to go there as well.
Yeah, we did mention on one of our programmes, I think yesterday, it's early days to mention it because one of them could have a new manager and the other two, depending on their form, Motherwell and St Mirren, it's going to be tough to call. If I was at this moment looking at it, I would go for a Celtic Motherwell final.
No, I would disagree with you there. I'm impressed with St Mirren. I think St Mirren have got big team, strong, powerful, cause problems at free kicks, corners. They can mix it up as well. So I think it'll be a close one. I don't think it'll be a runaway.
Yeah, who was your two then?
I'm going to go for St Mirren and Celtic.
Okay. Give us your thoughts. Who do you think is going to make the final? It's always good to get your thoughts on all things football. Monday to Friday, the football show is absolutely free to watch, and it will remain so. The additional content, we've got some belter interviews coming up that you're going to enjoy on PLZ Prime. All you need to do is hit the subscribe button. You're in with a chance of taking yourself and your partner flights and accommodation and off to the Champions League final in Budapest at the Puskás Arena. Have you seen the Puskás Arena, Ruffy? No. Oh, to die for. Absolutely magnificent. Champions League final, all you have to do is subscribe to Prime and you'll be in the draw for that fantastic prize. Over and above that, hit the subscribe button on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. Right across the whole of the week, our reporters are out there keeping you up to date with what's happening prior to a match and post-match as well, and we'll probably tomorrow be hearing from the Dundee United and the Aberdeen manager on the outcome of that game. So, from Ruffy and myself, Peter Martin, thanks for listening and watching.